I was a little too young to appreciate the original Little Nightmares, but the second game in the series is a personal favorite of mine in the horror genre. Little Nightmares 2 doubled down on everything the first game did well, with bigger scares, more involved puzzles and mechanics, and a far more interesting and gut-punching story thanks to Mono's rug-pull ending and Six's surprisingly dark character arc. My time with Little Nightmares 2 was overall very enjoyable, but just like some of the only real memories I have of the first game, I also remember how frustrating getting through it could be at times. Dying in one hit to nearly everything and facing enemies and puzzles without any guidance meant a lot of respawns, plenty of begging for checkpoints, and more than a few instances of having to figure out what the heck I was even meant to be doing. That frustration is seemingly a core part of the Little Nightmares experience, but one that was always worth pushing through to see whatever horrible sight or surprising story beat was waiting around the corner. It turns out that adding another player to that mix doesn't help that frustration like you might hope, and in fact, makes the pain of getting stuck and the feeling of defeat much stronger than before.
Little Nightmares 3 nails the series' creepy tone. Last year, I previewed Little Nightmares 3 for the first time at Gamescom shortly after it was announced. Considering what a big addition to the series the new cooperative gameplay was, I wasn't at all surprised that my demo was entirely based on that, even if it felt like a strangely social way to experience a game that's known for its specific brand of isolating horror. When I was recently invited to go hands-on with Little Nightmares 3 for the final time before its launch next month, I hoped I'd get a chance to finally try it out in single player and shake off some of the worries that crept up the last time I played. That sadly wasn't the case, as my latest preview was yet again a co-op-only affair that didn't let me sink into the tense atmosphere as much as I'd like. This time around, my demo featured new protagonists Lo and Alone, making their way through the Carnival, a rain-soaked and run-down fun fair that's neither fair nor fun. As my co-op partner and I made our way through the twists and turns of the carnival, it was clear that Supermassive Games has done an excellent job taking over from Tarsier and nailing the creepy dollhouse vibes that the series is so well known for. Even while chatting and joking around with another player, Little Nightmares 3's atmosphere is as dark and satirical as you'd hope, from the dead body floating in an apple bobbing bucket to the poor soul chained up above a dunk tank that we had to sacrifice for Lo and Alone's greater good. I still wish I knew a bit more about our new heroes and their plight, but for now, just exploring levels and diving back into the awful world of Little Nightmares was enough for me.
Co-op sounds like a natural fit for Little Nightmares 3.
Clambering around the creepy carnival and sneaking past distorted figures might just sound like more of the same Little Nightmares, but having another player around does change things up in a few key ways. For starters, most of the puzzles revolve around Lo and Alone working together, whether that means pushing through doors at the same time to escape or pulling levers in sync to move platforms and get across gaps. Most of the puzzles in Little Nightmares 3 will be familiar to anyone who has played the first two games, but there were a few instances where my co-op partner and I were completely stumped. That's a bad enough feeling when playing solo, but it's even worse with two players who don't know if either one of them is missing something and letting the other down. Tricky puzzles may be a core part of Little Nightmares, but they're noticeably more frustrating and disrupt the pace more this time around. The biggest change to the formula is the introduction of combat against smaller enemies. Lo has a bow that can be used for long-range attacks, while Alone has a big wrench that can smash through stuff. In the Carnival level, that meant Lo shooting the heads off bloodthirsty dolls for Alone to smash and finish off for good, all while the headless bodies chase the pair around. Having combat essentially be another puzzle makes perfect sense for Little Nightmares 3, but the one-hit kill enemies and the respawns they force again caused a fair bit of frustration. It's an interesting way to evolve the formula and keep things a bit more active, but I hope that some of the other enemies are a bit more forgiving to figure out.
But it gets in the way of the series' best moments.
Maybe in the full game, these annoyances will feel pretty minor. After all, we were two players who didn't know each other jumping into a random part of the campaign without much experience. The real frustration Little Nightmares 3 holds is in the signature encounters with each stage's horrifying main freak. The moments where you have to sneak around and just barely escape are undoubtedly the best part of Little Nightmares, but they're sadly pretty painful with another player. Figuring out the Carnival Creep's very specific patterns and then having to do a timed puzzle on top of staying hidden took many tries, quickly sucking all of the tension out of the room and replacing it with annoyance. And now imagine doing it with a loved one who's not as good at games as you. I can get over some of the puzzles being head scratchers that make you feel a little stupid, and the combat taking more than a few attempts to get right, but the monster encounters are so key to Little Nightmares that the endless respawns and deaths that didn't feel like our fault really put me off playing it in co-op. Low and Alone's Nightmares is one that I'm still looking forward to experiencing since Supermassive has captured the series' tone and vibes perfectly, but its signature feature is so far something I'll be avoiding.